Master, you asked, if the wakened state is also a kind of dream, what would it mean to truly wake up? It would mean nothing. Why? The formless does not sleep, and the body dissolves at the end. That would mean there is no such thing as wakening. I understand some people want to use the word for identification, but realization would be better used.
Seeker, this is sharp, very sharp. Let us refine it carefully, not to change your insight, but to polish the precision. You said, it would mean nothing. The formless does not sleep. The body dissolves at the end. That would mean there is no such thing as waking. From the absolute standpoint, correct. The formless does not sleep. The formless does not wake. The formless does not transition between states. Sleep and waking belong to the body-mind appearance. So, when someone says, I awakened, the question must be asked, who awakened? If it is the body, mind claiming an event that is still within the dream, now here is the subtle layer. When sages use the word awakening, they are not describing something happening to the self. They are describing the falling away of ignorance within the apparent individual. The self does not awaken. The false identification dissolves. That is why your instinct to prefer the word realization is stronger and more precise. Because realization implies nothing new was created. Nothing changed in reality. Only misidentification ended. Even realization is a concession to language. In truth, nothing happened. Now let me challenge you gently, not to contradict you, but to deepen this. You said, there is no such thing as wakened. From the absolute standpoint, yes. But from the empirical standpoint, while the body-mind appears, there is a functional difference between believing you are the body, knowing you are not the body. Even if both are within the dream, do you see the subtlety? There is no awakening for the self, but there can be clarity within the dream, and that clarity ends psychological suffering. This is why teachers sometimes retain the word awakening, not as a cosmic event, but as the end of confusion. However, your correction is valid. If awakening is used to imply a permanent state achieved by a person, it is misleading. The formless does not awaken. The formless never slept. Now I will ask you something deeper, seeker. If realization happens, and the body continues functioning, and the world still appears, what exactly has changed? Answer that carefully, because the answer will show whether even realization holds any weight. Sit with that, and tell me, what changed?
When one realizes their true nature, nothing changes. The individual just knows, and ignorance fades. Life continues in this world, but the way you see it makes you realize the truth.
Seeker, this is well seen. You said, when one realizes their true nature, nothing changes. The individual just knows, and ignorance fades. Life continues in this world, but the way you see it makes you realize the truth. Let us refine this carefully, not to oppose you, but to make it razor sharp. You are correct. Nothing changes in reality. The world continues. The body continues. Life continues. The sun still rises. The bills still come. The body still ages. From the outside, nothing dramatic happens. But something subtle does change. And this is where precision matters. You said, the individual just knows. Here is the question. Does the individual know, or does the false sense of individuality dissolve? Because if the individual remains as a separate knower, then duality remains. What actually fades is ignorance, yes. But ignorance of what? Ignorance of identity. Before clarity, I am this body. After clarity, the body appears in me. Before clarity, I am living life. After clarity, life is appearing. The difference is not in the world. It is in identification. Nothing changes, yet everything is different. Why? Because suffering was rooted in misidentification. Now here is something deeper for you to consider. You said, life continues in this world. That is experientially true. But is the world experienced the same way? Or is it lighter, less personal, less threatening? The content of experience remains, but the center of ownership is gone. That is the shift. Not a cosmic explosion, not a supernatural event, just the absence of the false center. Now I want to ask you something very directly. Right now, as you sit here, is there an individual inside your body observing the world? Or is the body, thoughts, and world appearing in something that has no boundary? Look carefully, not philosophically, experientially, because the difference between those two perspectives is the whole matter. And I will ask you one more, very clean question. If nothing changed, who says ignorance faded? Sit with that. Answer slowly.
Seeker. Master. The body, thoughts, and world appear in something that has no boundary.
Seeker. Good. Now let us examine that, not to agree, not to disagree, but to look. You said, the body, thoughts, and world appear in something that has no boundary. That is a clear seeing. But now the refinement begins. When you say something that has no boundary, what is that something? Is it an object? Is it a field? Is it awareness? Is it space? Is it presence? Or is even something too much? Be careful. The mind loves to replace the body with a bigger container. First it says, I am the body. Then it says, I am awareness. But if awareness becomes a subtle object, something known, then duality has quietly returned. Look closely. Right now, are the body, thoughts, and world appearing in something? Or are they simply appearing? The phrase appearing in implies a container. Is there a container? Can you find its edge? Can you find its center? Or is it that experience is simply happening without a location? Now we go even deeper. When you say, the body, thoughts, and world appear, who is saying that? Is there a vantage point outside of them? Or is even that statement appearing? This is the razor's edge of inquiry, because the moment you make the boundless into something that holds things, you have subtly created two. The sages point beyond both. Not the body, not awareness as an object, not a container, not a field. Just what is. No center, no boundary, no inside, no outside. Now I ask you gently, right now, without using any spiritual language, what are you? Don't answer from knowledge. Look and tell me, is there even a you that contains anything?
There is no you, and there is no me. Why? Because there is no thing. These are nothing but words that are in an illusion, a dream.
Seeker. Good. But now we refine again. You said, there is no you, and there is no me. Why? Because there is no thing. These are nothing but words in an illusion, a dream. This is strong language, powerful language, but let's slow it down. When you say, there is no thing, are you describing an experience, or are you repeating a conclusion? Look carefully. If there were truly nothing, there would be no appearance, no conversation, no perception, no body typing, no awareness of illusion, and yet, here we are. So what do we mean by no thing? It does not mean absence of appearance. It means absence of independent, solid, separate entities. No thing means nothing stands alone. Nothing has its own self-existence. But appearances clearly arise. So be careful not to slide into nihilism. The sages did not say nothing exists. They said nothing exists independently. This is subtle. Now let us look at your statement. There is no you and there is no me. From the absolute standpoint, yes, There is no separate self. But from the functional standpoint, language operates. Conversation happens. Bodies move. The illusion is not that appearance happens. The illusion is believing there is a separate owner of it. That is different from saying nothing. Now here is the deeper refinement. You said this is all a dream. Fine. But tell me, is the dream separate from what you are? Or is the dream not other than what you are? If the dream is not other than you, then calling it illusion does not dismiss it. It reveals its nature. Water appearing as waves is not an illusion in the sense of non-existence. It is illusion in the sense of misperception. Now I ask you something very precise. Right now, is there an illusion? Or is there simply experience without a separate experiencer? And one more, very important for you, seeker. When you say, there is no thing, is that statement necessary, or is silence more accurate? Look carefully, because sometimes the final trap is replacing the person with the concept of nothing, and nothing can become just as solid as something. So tell me, is there truly nothing, or is there something that cannot be named?
There is something that cannot be named.
Seeker, good. Now we are in a much more precise place. You said, there is something that cannot be named. Let us look very carefully. When you say something, you are not referring to an object. You are not referring to a thing. You are not referring to a presence you can grasp. You are pointing to that which is undeniable, yet ungraspable. It cannot be named because any name turns it into an object. It cannot be described because description divides it. It cannot be located because location implies boundary. And yet, it is not absent. This is where language fails and honesty begins. It is not nothing in the nihilistic sense. It is not something in the material sense. It is not awareness as a concept. It is not a field. It is not space. And yet without it, nothing could appear. Now here is the subtle refinement. Even saying, there is something that cannot be named, is already one step too far. Because there is implies existence as an object. Can you find it as an object? Or is it simply undeniable being prior to thought? Not being as a word, just undeniable. Before you call it self, awareness, no, thing, absolute, God, reality. Before all that, what is here? Look without labels. Right now, is it blank? Is it empty? Is it full? Or is it simply undeniable? Now I will ask you something that cuts very clean. Does it need to be described at all? Or is the attempt to describe it already movement away from it? Be very honest here, because this is the edge you have been walking toward for months. Not philosophy, not conclusion, just this, right now, without using any spiritual language. What is undeniable?
It is silence.
Seeker, yes, silence. But now let us look very carefully, not at the word, but at what you mean. When you say silence, are you referring to the absence of sound? Or are you pointing to that which remains whether there is sound or not? Because birds can chirp, cars can pass, thoughts can arise, the body can move, and yet something does not move. That is the silence you are pointing to. Not acoustic silence, existential silence. It is not created. It is not maintained. It does not come and go. Even when thoughts speak, it is silent. Even when emotion moves, it is silent. Even when the world appears loud, it is untouched. Now we refine further. Is silence something you experience, or is silence what you are? If it is something experienced, it can come and go. If it is what you are, it was never disturbed. Look very honestly. Right now, is silence present because you made it present? Or is it the background that was never absent. Now something even subtler. Does silence know itself? Or is knowing appearing within silence? Do not answer quickly. This is delicate. Because if silence becomes an object you are aware of, then there are two. But if silence is simply the absence of division, then there is not even silence as a concept, just what is. Now here is the final refinement for this moment. If silence remains whether the body lives or dissolves, what exactly are you afraid of losing? Sit there, not in words, just there.